Welcome back. So, yesterday Nintendo graced our presence with a Nintendo Direct, one that excited many people. It gave a lot of surprises that no one saw coming. I myself was stunned. It exceeded all expectations I had, giving us some titles I truly did not expect to see. It's clear after this Direct that the Switch is the system that Nintendo will have re released most of their older titles on, the ones that are loved, and even obscure titles. When I tell you I was surprised by some of the things I saw, I was speechless. There's a lot that I want to pick up, and that's a good thing because as it looked, we only had Pikmin 4 to look forward to for the rest of the year for the Switch. But let's get ready to dive right into things. First and foremost, if you're new here to Would You Gaming, thank you for tuning in to listen to us ramble about video game and video game news. If you stuck with us since the beginning, thank you so much for continuing to listen to me ramble. I have a good time doing these segments. Try to get them out as regularly as I can. Life gets in the way, of course. Tears of the Kingdom, as of late, has had my full attention and kept me from doing anything. If you have not already, follow us on our social platforms: Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Would You Gaming? We open Pokemon card packs there 5 days out of the week. At some point, we're hoping to get more than that going, but that's what we have for the time being. But let's dive right into things. We have a couple things to talk about. The first thing that popped up for us was the Pokemon DLC. And of course, it was showing off some of the countryside we'll be exploring in the first DLC, as well as the futuristic ocean facility from the second DLC. We saw some returning Pokemon that are not in the base game, and we're shown some of the new Pokemon being introduced in each respective DLC. There's still no firm date on the release date for these. I really wish they would get on with giving us a date for that so I can go ahead and PTO and assure I have that day off work and the following day to try to play through these. And even though there was not a firm date, they also gave us a new Terra Raid event. In 5 and 6 star raids, Gimmighoul chest form is going to be live for about a week. And the big draw is that the Pokemon can actually be shiny for the first time ever. It was previously shiny-like, but the odds of encountering a shiny in these raids is still 1 out of 4,000 and change. The drops were glitched for a while there. They seem to have fixed that. The Pokemon Company did a quick job of getting that patched up and everything, so that is good. We'll have to keep an eye on things to see if they ever change the raid odds for this for the shiny, but it looks to be by default that they've set it at this way. They then showed us a little bit of Sonic Superstars. Of course, we saw a bit of this in a previous showcase from Sega, so just piggybacking on that a bit. Persona 5 Tactica, the title is going to drop on November 17th for all platforms. There's a pre-order bonus if you pre-order through GameStop, which I will likely do. It gives us 2 custom coasters featuring Morgana and Joker, I believe it were. And it showed off some of the gameplay tactics. I do not believe we were shown the one more ability, so if you knock down your enemies, then you will have an opportunity to act again. They highlighted that during the presentation. They also showed off the all-out attack, which I'm not sure if we saw anything of in Atlas's presentation, but I'm sure they showed a bit of it. I feel like we saw more here, though. You, of course, achieve the all-out attacks by surrounding the enemies strategically with your party, and they're then able to attack all out and get some major damage on. Overall, I'm a huge fan of the Persona titles after playing through Persona 5 and Royal for the first time, and cannot wait to play a tactics versions of these. Another game that really resonated with me, I saw it and I was like, that looks really cool. It looks like it could be multiplayer, but it was very little revealed, not even a release date. And that was Myth Force. It bills itself as a first-person game inspired by Saturday morning cartoons. It's coming later this year and has you eliminating hordes of enemy monsters in a high fantasy environment. As I said, it appears that it could be multiplayer. It has caught my eye. I never heard of this title prior to the Direct, and look forward to checking it out in the future, at least seeing how the reviews shake up. That's the good thing about these Directs, along with the larger titles that we get, some of the titles that we might not have expected. We see some of these smaller titles as well, which kind of grow on us, and they give them an opportunity to get a little shine, a little bit of the spotlight so that they can get their due. Next up, we had Detective Pikachu Returns. Since the release of the 3DS Detective Pikachu, people have been clamoring for a sequel or re-release of the title on other platforms. It looks like a sequel is finally coming. We saw a bit of gameplay showcasing characters from the Galar region. I believe, what was it? Inteleon and Cinderace were shown. I don't think we saw Rillaboom, but there's just some of the Galar region Pokemon showed up there. There appears to be quite a bit of voice acting, and the title will release on October 6th. I'm sure fans of the series will be happy to see it return and are anxiously awaiting the release. I myself never got into it, but I'll keep an eye on it. I don't know that I will pick it up. I have so much other crap to play that at this point it's like, am I even going to get to that? Why pick up something that I might not even play? Next up, one of the larger titles that nobody saw coming and something that I'm excited for. That's the Super Mario RPG. That was a game that released way back on the SNES. It was a collaboration between Square Enix and Nintendo. And I delved into this a bit on the SNES Classic, though I never completed it. I might have to go back and remedy that prior to the remake releasing on November 17th. This is a title that inspired both Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga games, the first RPG featuring Mario, and laid the groundwork for fantastic titles that followed. Active combat allows you to deal more damage when attacking or receive less when defending. You simply would hit the confirm button, which I believe it was A on the SNES, right before you're attacked or right before your attack lands, and it will mitigate some of that attack damage or increase the amount of damage you do. I'm a fan of the original and look forward to a modern reimagining with quality of life improvements. I'm very surprised to see this pop up, and it is one of the titles I look forward to the absolute most. Next, we got a very small sneak peek of Peach game. There was a small snippet of the gameplay showing Princess Peach. She appeared to pick up a blue starflower and turn into, had changed her dress to white, I believe it was. More information will come on this in the future, but that's all they gave us. Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, a title originally released on the 3DS, is getting an enhanced version for the Nintendo Switch later this year. We saw a small amount of gameplay and got no release date, though if I had to guess, it would be on or around Halloween to capitalize on the holiday and boost sales. I still do need to make it through the latest title on the Switch and pick this up if the price is right. You can expect more ghost hunting and fun with Luigi when this releases in the future. The Batman Arkham Trilogy with all its DLC will come to the Nintendo Switch later this year around fall. It is impressive that they can get these to run on the Switch given how large Arkham City and Arkham Knight are. I get their PS3 titles originally, but these were brought up to the PS4. And as I said, there are very large cities. I wonder if any of these titles will be cloud versions given that. Another thing I wonder is why they won't bring Arkham Origins back to a modern console. It's treated like the redheaded stepchild of these games. They love to port the trilogy, but Arkham Origins is always left behind. It's stuck on the PS3. As far as I know, you could probably play it on PC, but that's it. I know it was made by WB Montreal instead of Rocksteady, but come on now, let's give it its time to shine. We brought the other three games back in a trilogy. Let's add another one in there, a bonus game, something. Gloomhaven is a game that mixes turn-based card games mixes turn-based battle and strategy with card games, and it will come out on Switch on September the 18th. We got a Just Dance 2024 coming out October 24th. Silent Hope appears to be an action RPG where you change the dungeons are changing, so it looks to be a bit roguelite inspired there. It's going to release on October 3rd. Fae Farms is a mix of sim, farm, and RPG, and it's making a comeback ahead of its release on September the 8th. I believe this is multiplayer where you can play with up to 4 friends in local co-op, so that is pretty cool. Hot Wheels Unleashed 2. You get to play with your little plastic Hot Wheels cars on October 19th. If you're into racing games and Hot Wheels, that is probably right up your alley. I think I bought the original on the PS4. Didn't play a whole lot of it, but it is interesting. There's a ton of DLC. They love to milk that. All the Batmobiles. Just let me unlock them in game, please. Thank you. Manic Mechanic looks to be a lot like Overcooked with cars where you're just putting cars back together, repairing. That's going to come on July 13th, so that's less than a month away. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope got a DLC that released the second DLC. There's a musical world, new areas and enemies to face. The DLC released late yesterday. Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince has you taming monsters and familiar Dragon Quest monsters across the landscape. That's coming on December 1st, unless it is delayed. Of course, that is 6 months away. It's completely possible that they do delay that. They showed us a bit more of Pikmin 4, showing gameplay modes that will feature different challenges that are available. There's also going to be a demo releasing for this. That's going to come on June the 28th. The game, of course, is coming on the 21st, and I'm excited for this. I'm a fan of the original Pikmin, and the daughter and I have been playing through Pikmin 3. We've still got to make it through the remainder of that game prior to this releasing. The next one, which I did not see coming, which I guess I should have saw coming, and that's going to be Pikmin 1 and 2 HD. HT versions of the first two titles are available on the eShop as of now, and I believe they said August or September they are going to have a physical release for this. It is $50. I'm going to have to pick that up. I'm not picking it up digitally. I will wait because I have 3 to play through, and then 4 pops up. After that, we can grab 1 and 2 and play through. I think 2 had multiplayer, but 1 did not. We've got to play through that when we get the chance to grab the physical copy a little bit later this year, closer to the holidays. Definitely picking that up. Another one that is a no-brainer, that's the Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1. That's going to come to the Nintendo Switch on October 24th. These are older Metal Gear Solid titles, and that is a good thing. They're going to run very well on Nintendo Switch. That they're not as resource heavy. You can, of course, buy any of these titles individually if you so choose. Just whatever you choose, you want the collection, you want that. I'm probably going to pick up the physical copy myself. Another title that I've been waiting to play, or I should say waiting to hit a console where I could play it because it was locked behind PC and Xbox at this time, that's Vampire Saviors. That's coming to the Nintendo Switch on August 17th. I don't know if it was possible prior, but they've added the option to play couch co-op, and my friend Philip and I are definitely going to be picking this up to play that in the coming future. I can't wait. The game is very simplistic. It's auto attack. You just running around. There's hordes of monsters that keep coming at you. But I've seen Maximilian Dood and others play this, and they just had OP builds where they're just flat out destroying everything, making me want to try my hand at it. It's a game that very much seems up my alley, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it and see what it's all about myself. From what I've seen, I'm very excited though. Penny's Big Breakaway is a 3D platform game from the creators of Sonic Mania. It's got a colorful world, and you will use a yo-yo as part of your arsenal. That's going to come in early 2024. We saw a little bit of that, but it's very, very early out there. Next up, we had the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass, Wave 5. Wave 5 of the Booster Course is introduced with 3 new characters and 8 new tracks. This Wave 5 will be available in the summer of 2023. Of course, if you have the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack, you get that for free. My kid has that option. She loves Mario Kart 8. I don't know why she hasn't downloaded this. I'm going to have to remind her about that one day when she's playing on that. Next up, a game I am very excited for. Originally published or developed by Tri-Ace, I'm not sure which. If you're not familiar, Tri-Ace was eventually folded into Square Enix. The game, of course, I'm talking about is Star Ocean: The Second Story R. This title was actually leaked about a week ago. The logo for it was found on, I believe it's Square Enix's site, and published on Twitter by WarioWare64, and I got very excited. It's going to mix 2D and 3D graphics, be a remake of the classic Star Ocean title that are released on the PlayStation 1 way back when. That's going to come November 2nd of 2023. I am very excited for this. This was my first entry into the Star Ocean franchise, and I put well over 100 hours into this title. It was incredibly difficult with a late game cave that you could go through by traveling back in time to a world that was previously destroyed. And I never made it to the bottom of that cave. And if you did not know, in this game, the max level was not level 100. You could keep going up into I think it was like 250 or better. But it's an incredible game. The gameplay is interesting. It's got the Tales of combat where you're all running around. You can switch between characters. You can instruct them on how they should act. The title has you play as one of two different characters, Reyna or Claude. And as I remember it, depending on the story you choose, there are also optional characters that you can recruit that are missable. There's a futuristic girl, I cannot remember her name, with a gun that shoots tracking projectiles. You can choose between her or the swordsman with two dragons on his shoulders, one on each, with a dragon head coming out of each shoulder there. It's an interesting title. They chose some different things here. Missable party members that you could just outright miss. I highly recommend it if you've not played the titles. Played this title. I never played the original. I dove right in on the second one. You can dive in like that. You don't have to play the first one to get the most out of the second one. It's very compelling and a contained story. Next up, WarioWare Move. There's over 200 mini games. The franchise is back to keep gamers on their toes. That's going to come November the 3rd. If you have parties often or you have friends that hang out and you like mini games, that's right up your alley. The Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda, and Ganondorf amiibos were announced. There's going to come holiday 2023. They look very interesting. Not very much an amiibo guy, but I may have to pick these up. I need to get some of the others as well. Finally, the last big announcement of the Direct, and it was a rather big announcement. That's going to be the Super Mario Wonder. You can pick up Wonder pickups that make this stage do crazy things. Warp pipes, start doing the worm. It's just Mario can stretch and become very tall. It's just very strange. That's going to come on October 20th of this year. It's 4-player co-op, and it looks to be a lot of fun. Nintendo, it's a 2D Mario at that, not 3D. Mario has the ability to turn into an elephant, which we were shown at the very end. I might have to pick this up. So looking at it, I've got quite a few things. I'm up at this point to a couple $100, about $300-400 in pickups if I were to pick everything up day one. Of course, I'm probably going to wait on a good majority of this, but there was a lot to be thankful for, a lot that Nintendo actually showed us that gave us an opportunity to see what they have planned for this year. And despite it looking like a drought towards the end of this year through the holiday, it appears very much so that we have a lot that we can play across many different genre of game. Was there anything you were particularly excited for? Are you picking up any of these day one? I know myself, I'll probably pick up the Super Mario RPG and Star Ocean the Second Story are day one. Mario RPG is $60. Star Ocean is going to be $50. Of course, it's reworked 2D, 3D graphics. Interesting enough. I'm probably getting that day one though. Star Ocean is probably, out of these, it's one of those that's getting the day one pickup for me. There are others as well, but it's the one that stands out. I'm a huge JRPG fan. If you guys can't tell by now, I play a lot of those. I play a lot of games in particular, but I love RPGs and JRPGs, and I can't wait for some of these titles. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts on this Direct were. Did you think Nintendo delivered and provided what we would expect from an E3 showcase? I think they went above and beyond that, and they gave us something truly to be excited for. I can't wait myself. But anyway, if you haven't already, rate our podcast wherever you might listen to it, if that is an option. Let us know what we might do to improve the podcast going forward. Reach out to us at woodyagaming@gmail.com if you have any suggestions or questions. Otherwise, thank you guys and peace.